I discovered a snack that I really love, and it's called Rolled Gold Select Pretzel Twist, Flamin' Hot Honey Mustard Flavored. And Rolled Gold really got that flavoring spot on. So that got me to thinking, I wonder if I could recreate that flavor and turn it into a powder. I knew I couldn't get it exactly right, but I was hoping to be able to get it close, because I could just imagine that that powder could be used on several different things. So why don't you come along with me and just see how I put this all together. Okay, so I made a test batch and came up with the quantities and wrote them down, because John In Bibs, I got a terrible memory and sometimes I forget things, so I meticulously wrote it all down so that I could duplicate it. So this is going to make about a pound. I think I weighed it out, roughly a pound of the honey mustard, spicy honey mustard dressing type stuff, dip. So what do we got here? I got 8 ounces of cream cheese, and this is softened, room temperature almost. It'll be a little bit firm. We're going to use some milk, some honey, some plain old yellow mustard, some Dijon mustard, some cayenne pepper, and some chipotle chili pepper. And that's all we're going to use. So let me get this open and get this cream cheese into the mixing bowl. And it goes. Now, 1/2 cup of milk. I'm using 2% milk. So 1/2 cup going into the mixing bowl. And 1/4 cup of honey. Now this is the only can it go wrong ingredient, because honey can puff up, but I'm hoping because we got so much other ingredients in there that I'm going to get away with it in the freeze dryer. That's the only unknown. Alright, let's dump that into our mixing bowl. 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard going in the mixing bowl. 1/4 cup of yellow mustard going in. Alright. And 1 tablespoon of chipotle powder. Teaspoon. That's 1 teaspoon. I gotta change that. 1 teaspoon. And 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And if I'm wrong and it was 1 tablespoon, we can always adjust that after it's mixed up. So let's drop our mixer in there, lock her down, and I'm going to start it off on slow. Alright, let me get that kind of all poked in there off the sides. And I see my cheese was not quite soft enough, so we're going to have to work with that to get that to blend in. Alright, let's see if we can get that running faster without splashing everywhere. Alright, let's give that one more scrape on the sides, and it's looking good. Put that down and give it another minute or so, just mixing that together, because my cheese was not totally room temperature. If I'd left that cheese out longer before we mixed it in, it wouldn't have been this much of a problem. But it's not a total problem, it's just that it takes more mixing to get that all softened up and mixed in. Alright, I think we're there. I want to show you the consistency of this. Can you see that? That is the perfect consistency, I think, for a salad dressing or a dip. Or something like that, like for your chicken nuggets or something. But I wanted to show you that so you can compare it to some that has been sitting in the refrigerator for 24 hours. See that? That is the perfect consistency, I think. I don't know if you noticed, but the one I done earlier is a lot smoother, and that's because when I was making my test batch, actually what I did was, thinking back now, I put the cream cheese and the milk in my mixer and mixed that all up until it was smooth, and then I added the other ingredients. So I would do it that way. Number one, get your cream cheese room temperature. Number two, just add your cream cheese and your milk to your mixer. Get that all mixed up until it's nice and smooth, and then add the rest of your ingredients. That's the way I did the first batch, and it came out a lot smoother than this. Since we're freeze drying this, I am not worried about it. And to be honest, if I was just going to save this and use it for dipping sauce, I wouldn't worry about it either. But that is has more eye appeal, being smooth. So I'm going to combine these two, which should give me about 1 tray's worth for the freeze dryer. Oh man, that is so good. Now it does have heat to it, so definitely it's a 1 teaspoon, like I said. Make sure you don't do tablespoons. And if you're not a heat lover, you could just totally omit those 2 peppers, or you could cut back on it. So maybe start out with a half a teaspoon of each. See if you like it. But I like a little kick to it, and that's what these have as well. Alright, so let me get my tray out and I'll be right back. Now as always, I weigh my trays. That way I don't overload my freeze dryer and get the ice too thick. So the freeze dryer I have is the old 2019 model. 4 shelves, 4 slots, medium. And the handbook for that said roughly 10 pounds or a little bit more. I can't remember what the upper limit was, but 10 pounds, it was what they recommend to put into it. So I always make sure that I only put about 10 pounds in my freeze dryer. Now what that does is that stops me having to worry about overloading the ice on the walls of the freeze dryer, because the medium freeze dryer is designed to hold 10 pounds of ice. So as long as you keep your trays within the limit, you're never going to overload your freeze dryer and get it too icy. So that's it set to 0. Let's go ahead and make sure that I'm not going over 2.5 pounds, which I don't think I will, but it's always safe to check. And as expected, it's very close to 2 pounds. 2.15 pounds. So let's spread that out. I'm really hoping that this honey that's in here is going to behave. If not, I'll let you know. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to pop that in the freezer, get it frozen solid, and that will be going into my next load, freeze dryer load. Wish me luck with the honey. Fingers crossed. I'll see you when it comes out. That's good. Alright, you guys, great news. My honey mustard did not puff up. I was worried about that honey. No need to worry. So now we need to get this into a powder. Let's see how hard this is going to be. Kind of looks kind of like it's going to be. No, I'll be all right, I think. We want it to turn into a nice powder. I got a gallon Ziploc freezer bag here. Let's take about half of this tray. Zip that shut. Try and get as much of the air out of there as possible. And let's use the magic rolling pin and try and get this all into a nice powder. Alright, that was easy enough. That's one bag, or one half of the tray. Let's get the other half done. Some people might ask why I'm not using a blender or something to blend this up. Well, I've seen mixed reviews on using a blender, and this has honey in it, and I'm just thinking that the heat from the blending process might cause this to clump up, and we don't want that. We want the nice powder. That is why I'm using a rolling pin. So let me get this done. I'll be right back. Alright, that was easy enough. Now I got a 1 pint mason jar here. Wide mouth if it matters. We're going to dump this powder in there. Looks like I got plenty, so I'm going to leave plenty of headspace on that. Keep it away from my vacuum. John, what are you doing? That's the way to do it. That way you don't get no dust on your rims. No problem sealing. Alright. I'm happy with that. Now, let's take our, I'm using, the only thing I buy is 300cc O2 absorbers. So we're going to put one 300cc O2 absorber in each jar. And I'm kind of worried that this might clump up because O2 absorbers and sugar clumps up. But because we have dairy in this product, we've got to use an O2 absorber. So I'll put one in there and we'll just deal with the clumps if it clumps up over time. My handy dandy jar sealer on there. Alright, so I guess you'd say I probably ended up with 2 pints of powder, but I kind of split it between 3 jars. Some nice looking honey mustard. I can imagine that being on a nice pork loin roast, doing a rub on that with that stuff, or on a, mixing it up and putting it on my salad, this nice chef salad, which I think I'm going to do for the taste test. And I think because my Price Chopper has such good chicken tenders, I might just buy one of their little salads and some chicken tenders and come back and we'll dip those chicken tenders in the honey mustard and we'll pour some honey mustard dressing over my salad. What do y'all think about that? I think that's a plan. So I'll see you for the taste test. Okay, let's put our honey mustard powder to test. Before I open this, I just want to let you know, I've had this out for about a week. And what I did was, we jarred this up on the video. I left it sitting out. The next day, when I picked it up, it was kind of caked together. Not solid, but enough to where it didn't pour like it does now. And I put that down to the heat from the O2 absorber. So what I did was I took the jar, gave it a good shake, got it all loosened, and since that date, obviously the O2 absorber has cooled down, and now it has remained a powder. So just a little tip there. So let's get some of this mixed up. I've got a nice chef's type salad and some chicken tenders and my honey mustard powder. So let's do 1, 2, I'll put 3 heaping teaspoons for now in there. Just to take, from your table teaspoon. I didn't measure it. And we're going to add a little bit of water until we get the consistency we want. Now this is cool water from the tap. Let's see if we can bring this back to life. Oh yeah. Initially it was slow to want to take that water up. But now that it has started taking that water up, it's coming back very quickly. Now I would call that close to being a dipping sauce, maybe a little bit thick. But I'm going to go for the dressing for my salad first. So you want that to be a little bit more pourable. Oh yeah, that's coming back beautiful. Alright, and let's do our dipping one now. Probably not going to make it much different in thickness, to be honest with you. 3 spoons. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this shut just to preserve that. It's kind of humid today. Yeah, you pour the water in that and then you think, well, that's not going to mix because it kind of all floats on there. They have a term for that in garden, and I can't remember what it is, where your peat moss, when it dries out, it doesn't want to take on water. There's a hygroscopic or something like that. But then once it does take on the water, it don't like giving it up. And that's kind of puts me in mind of this powder when you initially put liquid with it. Alright, let's give you a close-up of that, kind of. There you go. Alright, I'm going to take the runnier of the two and pour that over my salad. Put my other one on my dipping tray here. Oh man, that is good. That is really good. Let me get a couple pictures here for my thumbnail, and I'll show them to you as well. All right. You guys ready for the evaluation station? Let's take one of these beautiful tenders here and dip it in my sauce. Oh yeah, that's good. I like it. That's a winner. I really love a good salad, by the way. Let's try some of this salad. Oh yeah. That makes a beautiful dressing. You definitely taste that kick to it, which is what I was looking for. Not overpowering, but it's there. And I just think it really complements the sweetness of the honey mustard. That is delicious. This is a total winner. And like I said, you're not limited to dipping it, saucing it. You could rub this powder on chicken pieces and fry them or bake them, or do a dry rub on a roast. It's pretty, what do you call that? Versatile. It's pretty versatile. You could use this a lot of ways, and it is gorgeous. You'd have never really thought that that came from the freeze dryer and wasn't made with oil. It's made with cheese, cream cheese. It is delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I inspired you to try some things on your own, because that's what it's all about. Make any of my recipes your own. They're just ideas I put out there for you. And this is a winner. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah.